Alrighty, and we are live. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the bench. So, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna grab this board. This is LA-L211P, and it has a shorted CPU on it because the VRM shorted, as usually on these boards, and it fried the CPU. We have a second board that has the same CPU. It's the same board essentially. Let's quiet down the music, and we cannot get the focus to focus. What's wrong with this? Come on, out of focus. Okay, the focus doesn't focus. Laptop Repair 24DE. Hello from Germany. Choose. V Gates is dear. How you doing, man? Yeah, that's pretty much all the German I know, or all the German I remember from high school. No, I actually can say a few things in German. Okay, now it caught the focus. For some reason, it wouldn't catch a focus. All right, so what we gotta do is first remove this glue. Right. After we remove this glue, we're gonna remove the CPU. After we remove the CPU, we are going to clean the pads, and perhaps we'll see how much time we have, because my son will be back from his Halloween something pretty soon, so I'll probably stop there. So if there's time, we're gonna remove this replacement CPU off the donor board, and also clean the CPU and prep it for rebolling. We're not going to be able to reball today because I still don't have stencils. I ordered them probably a month ago, and they're still not here. And I got the what do you call it? The email or the update from AliExpress seller that it will be later this month, by the end of the month. So, if you guys want to join the lounge on Discord, feel free to do so. So I don't have to read the chat, and you can talk. Danke gut, mein Freund. Entschuldigung. Evening, 2123 here. Reparati iPhone. How you doing, man? And Chaz is here. Who are you listening to? It's non-copyright music on YouTube, so so it's not like my favorite music or anything. I usually don't listen to music. I just put on like some podcast and stuff on my headphones, and that's usually what I listen to. Now the problem here is that we have so many tiny components around it. Look at the size of these resistors, this little cap, all this. Crazy. So, it's going to be difficult. I mean, difficult. We'll see. Should I use a suction thing? We got someone in Discord. Howdy. Pegman. Hello from Iran. Hey, how's things going in Iran? Hey, how's things going in Iran? Oh, I can hear myself on Discord. You gotta mute your mic when you're not talking. Where you at? Who is that? Lead Farmer. How you doing, man? because you're listening to the stream. So yeah, the stream is gonna be delayed a little bit. So that might be a weird experience. I've never tried that before, so we'll see what's gonna happen. Can you hear me, Lead Farmer? Are you there? Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, since we're on stream, please no profanities, no extreme politics, that kind of stuff. Let's keep it civil, right? Not that I'm against, discussing politics, and you know me, I do often. But since we're on the stream, let's maybe stay away from extreme politics or extreme criticism. If you want to talk about government shutdown, you're free to do so. Just, remain respectful, positive, that kind of stuff. Arnold G, sorry, I muted. Oh, so that was you echoing. Okay. Well, everybody feel free to jump in. I'm working on a 1969 Craftsman lawn tractor with electronic ignition this afternoon. She's she's as old as my wife. Okay, well, hopefully you can get it running again, Ethan. I'm doing a BIOS for old H81M P33, Arnold. Alright, good luck with that. If you need any assistance, Lead Farmer is probably free. Although he's gonna be tied up in the stream now. Recently found your channel on YouTube. Love your work. Also a electronics technician for over 10 years now. Okay, that's Skynet.YouTube. Well, thank you very much. What kind of electronics do you work on? All right, I'm gonna blow with 200 degrees, 220 roughly, and get this glue off. That should do it. We'll see. I might need to use a higher temperature though. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not necessarily. There you go. One is off. Now the second one. It's UC1. Okay. What do we have? Hello everybody. Bytech. Hello, Bytech. How you doing? You know, in Poland in the 80s, we had this magazine on computers, and it was called Bytech, and not spelled the same, but it was pronounced Bytech. Not many people remember those anymore. I know, these were times of 8-bit computers. In many ways superior to the computers we have nowadays. Obviously not in computing power and stuff like that, but they were superior in my view. Okay. The third one, come on. Now, I'm blowing with 220 because I don't want to dislodge any of those tiny components. This would be easier if I put like 350 on it. It would dislodge much quicker, but I risk removing those tiny cups and resistors and stuff. And still, once we get it hot on the BGA station, that's something that we also risk. So there's plenty of risks to this. It's not an easy job by no means. What is this? Oh yeah, that's a little bit of underfill left over. I think this is a UV curable glue. Oh, and it disappeared somewhere. Hopefully not under the CPU. And the last one. Come on. There. Okay, the glue is removed. The CPU is ready to come out. Let's look at it, see if we can get the focus here. Yeah, we can. Good. All right, we can see the balls. Looks good. We'll see if the board is gonna flex, if oh, I think that's why I couldn't, yeah, that's why I can't get the focus. Look at that. If I do this, it works. But if I center here on this black reflective thing, see, it's not catching focus because of the reflection. So you have to catch focus on over here, there, and now you can move it. It's probably because of the backlight. We could remove the backlight and maybe that would be better. I'm not sure. This backlight is pretty crap anyways. Alrighty. Now let's prep everything. Oh, we got a lot of comments. Let's see. Muted, blah, blah, blah. Hello, everybody. Bytech, Skynet. Skynet YouTube started back with Xbox, Red Ring, and PS3, Yellow Light, Rebolling. Then moved on to data recovery and logic board repairs. Lots of microscope time, yeah. Yeah, definitely the data recovery is a good business because you can charge plenty of money just for even assessment. And people are willing to pay a lot because, hey, it's their data, right? Are you preheat the board from the bottom? Didn't see. Well, wait for it. Right now I just removed the glue from the sides. Obviously we're not gonna remove the CPU with the Hadder gun. That's not something that you can do, at least not reliably. That was my intention for the name, Bytech, yeah, and then Bytech, but everybody reads it as Bytech, yeah. Is it beneficial to change the CPU on this board? Well, the CPU is shorted. The rest of the board should work fine. The donor board doesn't see the GPU and doesn't charge the battery. We tried to figure out what's wrong with it, but we couldn't. It could be a PCH issue. It could be a board physical damage to the board. Who knows? So the customer abandoned the device. Oh, and there, no, I didn't even notice that there's some signs of soldering over here. Not sure what that is all about. But the customer abandoned the board because the probability of success is relatively low. And I still have to charge for it, whether it's going to work or not. So essentially this is my board at this point, but I figured if I can revive this laptop, right, because it's not worth anything to me, well, other than maybe a source of parts and stuff like that, but you know, I can just throw it in the trash, or I can have some fun with it. So let's replace the CPU, and also we have to replace one VRM over here, and see if the board works. If it does, then we have to replace the keyboard connector. I think over here or over here, I remember. That was done by the customer. And boot the computer and see if it works. But we're not going to be able to do all that today, obviously, because, you know, first of all, we don't have a stencil. Let's see. Is it beneficial? The stream quality is good. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. I used to fix Apple boards like long screw damage, trace repair. Yeah, I've seen a lot of long screw damages on the phones. I used to buy phones of eBay, broken phones, like older Apple phones, and the majority of them would have long screw damage. Well, I don't know if Apple does it on purpose, but it's pretty common. Don't miss those days at all. But a unique area I did like was repairing testing equipment for the city, like road X-ray detection hardware. You mean those gates on the roads that detect radioactivity? That's I was always curious how that worked. Also could change the CPU serial number on BIOS, I think. Yeah, Let Farmer is gonna figure that out for me. Well, the CPU is the same, SRKT3, right? But the serial number is different. So probably the TPM is gonna reset, and maybe the computer is not gonna boot because of that. I don't know what's gonna happen, but we'll see eventually. You should have the chat replay in front of you so you can interact while working. I will figure that out. I'm totally new to streaming, so yeah. Is there an outline? There is an outline. Okay, so it should be good. Okay, he clean ME. Let's new BIOS work. Oh, the clean ME. Yeah. Let Farmer's gonna clean the ME, no problem. Like tools they use for survey and testing in construction. Yeah, I did those, but most of those I had a physical damage, so that was pretty difficult to repair. Yeah, they are definitely high value, high profit for sure. All right, let's get the BGA and let's start preheating and do some CPU swapping, because why not? I was gonna do the ECM. Actually, I did do ECM today, but I didn't fix it. I mean, it settled on the. I have to clone it and swap the MCU. No way around it. I did replace IC 501. I did replace the ICs 472, thinking that maybe that does something, but I cannot figure out for the life of me what controls those power rails. And I even started blindly checking here and there, all kinds of stuff, and nothing. It just doesn't want to work. So for some reason on those older ones I had much more success than the new ones. Not sure why. It shouldn't be that way. But what are you gonna do? Okay, we're not gonna have the side camera because for you to see the side camera, I would have to connect the camera and restart OBS, which would terminate the stream, I think. I'm not sure if it would actually, but yeah, we're not gonna have a side camera. So I'm just gonna bring you closer over here, no worries. You're gonna see everything. And what you cannot see, I will describe. Okay, no one is talking on Discord. Is that not working, or do I not hear? What's the deal with that? There. Now, let me maybe bring you over here. That should be good, because part of the screen is going to be taken by Rework Pro. which will be telling us what the temperatures are and everything.
I didn't know I had this option. I'll join you.
Howdy! Oh, that was loud, sorry.
Hey, what's up, Mr. Rat?
As you can see, just doing some BGAing on the nice sunny Saturday.
I had to so my car door, you'll appreciate this, it's nice German engineering, but on my BMW E39, I drive a 2003 BMW 530, and that car door was stuck.
Oh.
Closed.
Oh, I would expect that on Tesla, but not on BMW.
Right, I guess they didn't use the car door before I owned it, and then the few times I owned it, I noticed it was a little sticky, which should have gave me the sign to take care of it then, but I left it, and one day the door wasn't closing, and I really slammed it hard. Boom, that was it. No more car door. So
crazy.
I don't know if you ever had to take a car interior panel up without the car door being open, but it's pretty difficult. And I was able to get it done. So
I bet it was. I actually no, I have not. I have not had a pleasure of doing that.
The bottom line, I fixed it, and now my car door opens. Thankfully, it was just really stuck. Needed the good stuff, the lubricant.
Oh, Arnold said that German cars' passenger doors have escape-proof thing. Damn, you can't escape your own car?
So, yeah, I was thinking about selling it, so I said, well, I can't sell it with the car door not working, so let me fix it. It's a manual shift E39. It's actually a really nice car. It's got very little rust on it. Actually, no rust on it, which is amazing.
What's the year?
2003.
Oh.
So she's a classic.
Yep. That can.
I love driving the car. It's so quiet. Like you can't hear. You could have a conversation with somebody without screaming. It's a very quiet, well put together car. It's before BMW became shit. 2004 and on, they became shit.
Yeah. Well, I forgot to mention no profanities on stream, please.
Poopy. Became poopy.
Or crappy.
All kinds of plastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
In 2004, they started using all kinds of plastics that would deteriorate, and then they used a wiring harness that was environmentally friendly and would deteriorate as well. So that was a good idea.
Right.
They had problems with the oil sensors. The oil would actually wick its way up all the way to the computer. You'd appreciate that one.
Oh yeah.
And destroy the computer.
Yeah. Yeah, they can corrode a lot of stuff. Actually, mainly like plastics and what do you call it? Like seals and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's it. That's what they do. Oh, by the way, on Discord, you could hit start on the OBS. You could hit start virtual camera, and you can put what you're doing on this as well.
Oh, so, okay.
So that way, whoever's talking to you could see what. Like, I can't unpause my video because then I'd get to you and very confusing.
Yeah, because it's out of sync. Yeah.
Right. It's like 20 seconds out of sync, so it's very annoying. But yeah, I've done it before where I put on the stream and then I put on Discord and I put the virtual camera on. That way, everything could run. And I've had people come into Discord and actually help me, which was actually nice.
That's what we have the Discord for.
Yeah. Definitely look for help any chance I could get it. The last time I streamed though was a little disappointing because there was a guy who just said, he's talking about me. I can't believe that he that people allowed him to work on consoles. It was completely uncalled for.
Oh,
I was working through a problem, and in my head, and when you're on stream, you say, oh, maybe this, maybe that, and just by what I said, oh, I can't believe he works on consoles. Like he was a real jack.
well,
You know?
it's part of this business. If you put yourself out there, you basically allow people to share their opinions. That's you just have to develop a little
Yeah,
thicker skin.
it's so uncalled for. This community is a bunch of helpers. We all help each other. This community is fantastic.
Yes, I
I
agree.
personally always support this community, and I do anything I can to help this community. Never bash anybody in. And
Yeah.
certainly would never bash anybody trying to do repairs on
Yeah.
the street. It's
It is.
already a difficult situation.
Yeah, it is not an easy business for sure. Yesterday, I don't know if you've seen my stream yesterday, but yeah, I couldn't figure out that ECM, and I spent another few hours today trying to figure it out, and I couldn't. That's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you spend hours on something, and you can't fix it. It's just the way it goes. Honestly, that's why that's why I do the easy repairs like the HDMI ports and cleanings and stuff, because they pay well, For me, anyway, they pay well. Like I did one cleaning this morning. The guy, I charged him $85. He gave me 90, which was great because I had it done within 30 minutes or so. And already I'm done for the day. I don't have to make any more money really because I already have it But really, the work hasn't been out there. I've been advertising and everything else, but the work just hasn't been there. It's not even been about price. It's just people. I don't know. People aren't spending money anymore, I guess.
They don't have. Yeah, there's like different. We have different issues now. Different problems. It's government shut down. Job market is crap. So yeah, the repairing your laptop or your phone, well, maybe not the phone, but repairing laptop or game console or something is not the highest priority for you right now. So that's why the most repairs I get right now is either cars, because it's your daily driver. You need a car, especially in US, right? You won't get you won't get around without the car, or phones and stuff like that. But even with phones, it's not very it's not very profitable anymore, anyways.
Yeah, I don't work on phones, but it's too small and my hands are too jittery. But I think that like the people that call, sometimes I'm just honest with them. Like, hey, I have a PlayStation 5 that shuts down randomly when playing, right? But it's not overheating. So I said, well, don't invest any more money into that. I tell them, don't fix that. Just go into GameStop and trade it in for a working. They got the working console money, and they trade it in for $140. They'll get a new console, and then they can go on with their life. So you give it to me, I'm going to charge you at least that much money, $125, and it might not fix it the first time because it could literally be anything. Starting off in the middle of gameplay, it could literally be anything. So, I'm going to change an SSD controller, and then I'm going to go on to change. It's just going to keep going. It's a snowball, and it's a rabbit hole that I'd rather not be in. So,
yeah, that's why I've seen what's his name, the coder. He does primarily PS5s, right? But even he's been doing it for years. I remember his videos from I don't know, quite a few years ago. So he's got plenty of experience. So he developed an instinct, and if you specialize in any particular device, you're gonna be much more effective than someone who's got broad experience and but even with all that experience, he still sometimes he's stumped by the by default, right? So yeah, that's how it works.
You think of when a console shuts down, you think the SSD control. If it shuts down for no reason, you think either either power delivery, right, or SSD controller. But you got to really. I can't tell you exactly what it is. It's not like you're coming in with a 12-volt short. I can work through it, figure that out. You're coming in with a very random problem. That only happens when you play games. And sometimes, like one guy came in, it only happened when you play games for like 2 hours. So it wasn't even like, what do you do then? What am I supposed to dedicate, all that time to see it shut down myself? It's not working.
Oh, a comment from Skynet. If you build it, people will come, even the haters. That's how it works.
Oh yeah. No, I appreciate that, but I'm a very small channel in the community and with friends, right? I have a lot of friends in this community.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty small myself.
Come on. I didn't say that. That's ridiculous.
There is always a rocket surgeon watching your rocket surgery, Arnold. Thanks a lot, man. Hi from Greece. Let's rebuild the CPU by hand. One by one, ball, it's done. 15-20 minutes. Flux can do the magic. I have rebuilt memory chips by hand. It's crazy time consuming and very frustrating because it's always the last 3 balls that you gotta put on. They're gonna start bridging and it's.
The ones on the edge, the bottom right corner for me, because you go from left to right. So the ones on the bottom right corner for me are always the most difficult because you can't put them on. But I don't have a DDR4 stencil. I have a DDR5 stencil. But the 4, there's one chip on a PS5 that's a DDR4. It's like a
right.
There's only one on there, so every time I have to reball that, I have to sit there and hand reball it. And I hate it because I'm so freaking jittery.
When money is tight, people will always look for cheaper option rather than buy new, so business should still be good. Definitely is key, or no, diversity is key. I agree. I mean, it probably depends on what do you repair, because as I said, if your PlayStation stops working and you gotta spend $200 to get it working again, then you kind of think, well, let's not do PlayStation. let's put that money into something else.
The option is buying food or playing a game, or paying the rent. Of course, you're going to choose. The parents out there, they got to choose having a roof over their head over a gaming console.
That's true.
I just feel like it's slow for me. I have a guy who owns a computer store nearby, and he sends all the console work to me, right? And he's slow too. He just feels like it's overwhelmingly slow for him. He usually, he tells me he usually makes X amount per month, and he's down, 40% of that, or in that range.
Yes, sir. That's how it looks. Alex from Northridge has one thing right: doing odd, unique repairs and advertising it. Yeah. It always amazed me how how his business works. He's definitely one thing that you cannot take away from him is that he's a good businessman. He's doing great business. We can argue whether he's got enough knowledge to to figure out complex problems, but he doesn't work on complex problems because they don't bring money. That ECM from yesterday and a couple days ago, actually, I already spent, I don't know, maybe 6, 7, maybe 8 hours on it, and finally I'm just gonna do the cloning and stuff, so another, say, couple hours, because I gotta do the MCU swap, and I'm gonna charge $200 for that. So if I calculate how much an hour, then at the end of the day I'm making $10 an hour or $5 an hour. So yeah, it's not a great business. So he focuses on actual business. So if I can't figure it out in 5 minutes just looking at it, no shorted MOSFET or burnt connector or whatever, if I can't figure it out in 5 minutes, move on. Charge your bench fee and and move on. But for that, you need to have a lot of business for that. You need to have a lot of influx of
His bench fee for like a video card, for example, is $130, and I think he requires that before he even works on it. So, you know, he might send you something if he can't fix it, but if it's not like a burnt MOSFET, like you said, or you know, or something obvious that he can't figure out right away, of course he's going to move on because he has 20 other things in the queue that he can do that make him money. It makes no sense. I've never understood why I watch some people spend 4 or 5 hours to fix something.
Yeah.
They're not making any money on it.
Yeah, well, it's sometimes it's a point of honor that you know the you know I want to fix it, right? Even if I don't make money on it, I just want to fix it. Yeah, but that's not good for business.
Yeah, but if I had stuff lined up, if I had, let's just say, HDMI ports, if I had like 10 HDMI ports lined up, I'm not spending that time fixing a complicated issue. I got enough work to keep me going.
Right.
With the simple stuff that makes money. That's a simple project that makes great money. Your return on that is phenomenal. On a port.
Let's see. Local car parts stores wanted $233 for alternator. $230 for an alternator? Damn.
Yeah,
I went to local used parts and got it for $48 with taxes.
You get a better quality part.
Sometimes, I mean, it depends, but sometimes you just need to replace the brushes, and that's it. The rest of the alternator works. I'm going to fix alternator same as you did. It had battery light on after I changed power steering pump, and vibration likely caused some wires came loose. Typically, it's not the vibration. It's the mine got killed because I was using too much power, drawing too much power from it, and that solder joint can just melt sometimes, and that's what happened on mine.
Tremendous amount of heat, right?
Yeah. Only issue with Northridge is he's too anxious and looks like he doesn't care to try harder sometimes. I stopped caring to watch him. Yeah, Arnold, I agree. I watch him mainly, as I said before, mainly for the business aspect of the of his shop, because you know that impresses me, because he's got good business there.
We got to realize where he is too. I don't know about your area, but where he is, he's in a good hub of a lot of people that don't know how to do things.
Right. Yeah, that's probably it. But I'm pretty sure he mainly gets mail-in business.
Well, that's in addition to it, and then the only reason why he has the mail-in business is because he was able to build up the YouTube. So, build up a YouTube channel, and then you'll have the same business.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm trying to do, man. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Reparati. I was looking for a niche in repairs over here as a hobby. I'm a DevOps for the past 20 years in real life, yeah. And I chose iPhone repairs. There's only few people in the country doing iPhone board repairs. Yeah, sometimes it's a matter of finding your niche. I got for the ECM repairs, I don't have a lot of competition, right? But for laptop repairs, the competition is fierce. Luckily, a lot of those competitors are just not competent, which works for me. So that's why I got a lot of jobs after other repair shops. Not to say that I always figure it out after other repair shops, but at least you get a little better. What was that shop in El Paso, right? So yeah, the one in El Paso, we had it from Sandeep, the 2 or 3 computers that went to that shop first, and they completely butchered them. Yeah.
Remember that line of capacitors? I mean, electronically it was fine, but it was just really a mess. That line of
Yeah.
capacitors that they had on that one board, it was like 6 or 7 capacitors just lined up in a row like that. I don't know if
Let's
you
see.
remember.
Reparati. However, after 2 years of iPhone only repairs, I kind of got bored and now looking into repairing anything else. Yeah, especially the iPhones nowadays, they get less and less repairable. But it's good to specialize. And actually for iPhones, counterintuitively, even though they're hard to repair, there's good availability of data, like board views, schematics, stuff like that. Stuff that normally you don't get for some other phones.
Thanks to
Let's
Paul
see.
Daniels, by the way, who is a pillar
Yeah,
in this very community. Paul Daniels is somebody that everybody should support.
right.
Because he's literally made fixing Apple stuff
Right.
so easy to find good information on.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great guy, great person. I watched his videos. He's a good guy.
Okay, Radu, is it? I don't recognize the language. Is that Italian? I don't know.
That guy? Let me hit the translate. But speaking of repairable, did you see the new Google phone that they have? Is actually built on repairing, which I hope
Yeah.
that's a way that they go.
Yeah, I think we're now crossing over to, the next innovation is going to be just that. Like the software I'm about to hopefully this month release, it's for eBay management, right? You can create listings, manage orders, create automations, and that kind of stuff. The key difference between my software and all the other softwares is that you have full control of your data. Nothing is stored in the cloud, nothing is sent to the server, and the software doesn't have even access to your financial API, any of that. It's completely limited just to be your right hand, but all the data is not only stored on your local machine but also in readable format. So you can literally just open the database in the text file and just modify whatever you need to modify, remove, or stuff like that. And I think that's what's going to be just like framework laptops, right? Came with this appeal of let's make the computers like they used to be. The same will go to the phones and the same for the software and everything. So just like there was a boom on cloud, which does provide a lot of value too, but there was a boom on the cloud and sealed devices, unrepairable devices, and people don't want that anymore because it becomes just too expensive. They made too much money. And now people want something, even if you have to pay more money, like for framework laptop, they're crazy expensive, but you can mix and match parts and replace stuff if it stops working. You don't have to send it to a repair shop, and if you do send it to a repair shop, then you have guaranteed repair. Because maybe they have to replace the board, maybe CPU, maybe memory, everything's replaceable. And plus you can add modules and stuff. So yeah, I think that's where we headed now. It's end of Apple.
Really know, because it seems like they're able to build with integrated graphics, integrated RAM, integrated CPU. They're able to build it deeper, thinner, and everything else. I just don't know that framework will ever really make a splash. And they don't make enough of them. Like I said, they charge a lot of money. So I'm not sure that would succeed. So it would be nice.
All right, we are at 150 at the bottom. Now, let's just check the chat. Alec gets a lot of mail in. That's why he commonly does small, expensive boards repair on stream. Oh, he does streams? I didn't know. That's where
Yeah,
that's where the good money is. That and his chill, his chill for tools he sells. Yeah, I think that is tool resale business is probably doing him more money than the actual repairs because it's a lot easier, it's a lot more scalable, it's a lot more stable, you know. So yeah, that's probably he probably should put more emphasis on the retail store that he does. Plus, you can scale easily because you don't need to look for qualified technicians to do repairs and stuff. You just need a person to just fulfill the orders, put the boxes together, and print the labels and ship them. That's it. So.
the boss of all bosses, the packer of all packing. That's a good
Yeah.
idea that he has, though. He has the guy who takes everything apart for him, right? And,
Mm-hmm.
that's a huge part of repairs, right? Because some of it, especially like, I hate to bring back gaming consoles or gaming consoles again. It's really all I do. But taking a PS5 apart, for example, it's 47 screws.
Yeah.
Plus the outer screws and everything. If you had like 30 of those lined up and somebody's just handing you a board, you could pop them out pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
You could definitely fix those fast. And by the way, why wouldn't he? If he could slap his name on a flux that he didn't really make, or if he slapped his name on a product he really didn't make.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Make money on it. Why wouldn't you?
Right. That's true. Okay, actually for iPhones the success rate in repairs is above 95%, while lately apparently for laptops is way less, but I find it more interesting. Sure. Paul is such a key player in the industry, but I think he has a lot of things in his on his plate. Repairs are on the end of the list these days. Yeah, I'm sure. I would love to move on to the software more. Does your eBay app do list watching and buying assist, or is it more back-end management? Oh, that's an interesting question. So you would want features, right? So you'd want features for actually buying, not selling. At the moment, it's not, because the reason I started writing this software is because I want to manage my listings and stuff, right? Auto fulfillments and stuff like that. So when you buy software, I don't really have to do anything. It just happens by itself, right? But I can look into that, yeah, because I do have through the trading API, I do have access to listings, or to making offers and monitoring listings and stuff like that. It's a good idea. I'm actually gonna put it on put the note on that, note that on my board, and I'll see if I can implement that. Yeah, it's a good idea. That's why I want to release the application as soon as I can, to gather some feedback. Okay, fellas, now can you recommend a profile? Because otherwise I'm just gonna use my universal socket replacement by RAF. If anyone has the suggestion on which profile to use, speak now or forever hold your peace.
I'm just gonna put it out there. Go with what you know. All guys,
Yeah, it's a good advice as well. Well, this profile has the top temperature 205, and I usually put 210 at the bottom. I'm kind of worried to put 210 at the bottom, so at the moment it's set to 190 and it's still preheating. It's at 156 right now. So I'm not sure, but first, yeah, I'm just gonna load this profile for now, unless someone has a suggestion. So We go to 185, then 190, and where is it?
But it depends on like the thickness of the motherboard. So like, how would somebody know that, like, unless they know the motherboard stuff, how would they know what temperatures to use?
Yeah, that's a good question. How do you know which profile to choose? Do you measure the board? Do you check how many layers it has, how much copper, and all that stuff? No, what I do, I just use. Well, actually, what I did, I just ruined whole bunch of boards to learn how to fail, right? And then I learned how to succeed. If you learn how to fail first, then you can succeed much easier because you know
Yeah.
how you know what it looks like when the board is overheating. You know when the board is not heated high enough. You know that kind of stuff. You learn how to recognize when it's ready to be lifted. All those things. So in my case, I just start on simple profile, something that I know, and I see what happens. If it's not letting loose at 205, well, maybe let's do 215, maybe 220 even. With CPUs, it's actually a lot easier because you don't have to worry about them melting. Well,
Okay.
the other stuff can melt, sure, but for the most part, it just no no, it should you shouldn't break anything even if you overheat it a bit, right? The CPU might drop too much, the bridges underneath or stuff like that. Um, but yeah, so is there a universal profile? Well, there is this one. This one is the universal profile that I use it for pretty much everything, and I just adjust it here and there. But usually the top 205 and the bottom 210, that's usually how it works for me, and it works really well. But we'll see. We're at 175 at the bottom, 126 at the top. We are how long? We are 19 minutes in. Yeah, it shouldn't take more than 25 minutes of preheating. I mean, you could also dry it, right? But it has been pretty dry over here. I don't think it's gonna bubble, but you never know. Sometimes it doesn't look like it's humid. It doesn't look like it looks like the board is dry and ready, but well, it will just start crackling and start bubbling and popcorning, and you're done.
Yeah.
And this is
Can
the
can you
board
hit
that we want to
with some hot
use.
air when that's happening?
Well, with hot air, it's very much different. So yeah, Rework Pro is not for. I mean, you could use it for hot air, sure. I mean, you couldn't because the PC 410 controllers wouldn't work with hot air. Um,
Okay.
but
Because what I'm doing,
yeah, well,
what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to, sell my car, the Corvette, selling that, getting rid of getting the garage, and I'm gonna put all like better equipment in the garage. So, a rework Pro might be in the cards, but definitely a preheater is definitely in the cards. If I
yeah.
don't have yet.
All right, let's check on the chart. You should focus probably on the battery analyzer, as you seemed interested in it. I think that would be a success. NLBA needs a competitor, even if it's only for diagnose and possible unlock. I am actively working on it. There is some development, some hardware development, and some software development, but I'm in relatively early stages. I'm just kind of assessing what needs to be done. There's a little bit of a veil of ambiguity and obviously proprietary information that I would have to acquire somehow. Not sure how, not sure where, but I will eventually. So yeah, eventually the software will be delivered. But looking at it from my perspective, Needless to say, I don't have a job right now, right? So I need to focus on stuff that potentially can bring me money. The NLBA competitor, that's not something that will bring me money because my main goal is to just provide a good software at a very affordable price, right? The same as Rework Pro. You pay $35 one time and you keep the software forever, right? No licenses, no subscriptions, no nothing. And that's what I want for my NLBA competition to be like, which means I'm not going to be able to monetize on it enough to justify heavy development. The eBay tool, on the other hand, well, that is something that will come with a cheap subscription. I'm thinking around $5 for the cheapest version, and actually, if I'm planning to do a free version that will just have some limitations and stuff, and limited support. Then the cheapest license, cheapest subscription, $5 a month. I say that's very adequate price for the value it delivers, for the value it gives you, there is some maintenance cost on my side to actually keep the software working, right? Because with Rework Pro, well, I do have to pay for the backend, right? Because I need servers and stuff, because that's where you get your profiles from and stuff, right? So there is some cost, but it's not very big. But with the eBay, I need to actively develop it every month because the eBay API keeps changing. Stuff is deprecated, stuff is implemented, stuff is moved, and I have to continuously develop it to keep it working. So it's a significantly higher investment, time-wise and work-wise, effort-wise. So there has to be a monthly subscription, right? But for NLBA, there isn't. So, and the NLBA really does not, well, they probably do have to update here this and that from time to time, but essentially it's a relatively open protocol that it uses, and it's established. It doesn't really change that much anymore. So maybe you have to add new chips from time to time for newer batteries, but nothing beyond that. So I really don't see the reason to lock the NLBA behind the subscription. So I don't want to do that. For that reason,
$100 a year.
yeah, well, $100 a year. That's what, like $8 a month or something like that. So yeah, it's not
But
the.
that's only if you buy it for 10 years. Otherwise, they charge you more. They have a structure.
Oh, so it's $100 a year, but you buy it for 10 years, so you're effectively paying $1,000, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's how they do it. That's how. I mean, they have great product. You can't take that away from them. It's a great product. It works. Sure, if you do a lot of batteries, you'll make that money back in no time. But on the other hand, what difference to me does it make if I charge, $50 for unlocking the battery or $50 for replacing the battery plus the cost of the battery? And from my side, it's no different. I mean, the customer needs to pay more, sure, but if the battery got locked, there's something wrong with the battery. So let's replace it. That seems like a logical, choice to me. That if there's something wrong with the battery, let's replace the battery. It's not like they're super expensive. Maybe depending on the availability and
a good quality battery, like a factory direct replacement, it's maybe $100.
Right.
$15.
All right, we are preheated. We are preheated. The temperature of the bottom is 190, 139 at the top. Starting the profile. Oh.
I enjoy this co-hosting gig, by the way.
Nice. Let's see. Let's see the chat. Okay, you should keep an eye on the chat. NLBA does hold the market, but eBay is more universal. More clients. Nova has a lot of licensing, I believe, as well, which costs more. Not sure on that, but from what I heard, from what I read, agree. Dealing with eBay and PayPal has given me more gray hairs than any repairs. Like talking to robots. Yeah, eBay can be a little bit difficult, and it's not like you can actually negotiate with them or talk to them or anything like that. So yeah, it can be a little frustrating, sure. But on the other hand,
I have a question about new software, like,
which,
eBay software.
oh my, yeah, what do you want to know?
So who is what's a good? I don't want, and I'm not trying to put this down. What's it besides subscriptions? What is it good for? Maybe I don't understand the product.
Right. So if you do repairs, repairs like I do on and selling them through eBay, right?
Okay,
The customer, yeah. The software allows you to quickly list your repairs and stuff. You don't have to worry about finding categories and stuff. It'll just guide you throughout that process. You can do it a lot quicker as well. But the main value is when you list say like I do the ECM repairs, right? So every time the customer purchases, I get an email usually from the customer like, hey, I purchased, what do I do next, right? And people are just confused, right? So obviously I need to send you an address, even though it's described in the listing, sure, but nobody reads that anyways, and especially in cases where, you know, the customer just got the link from someone else and said, you know, this guy does this, here's his listing. So you have to send an email with your address, right? Some instructions maybe, or what have you. So what my software does, it just does that behind the scenes. So as soon as the order comes in, the customer receives an email that you've written before, you know, with the address, and then yes. Then you can, when the order comes in, you can flag the order, right? So when the item has been received, you can put a flag on it that you mark it as, you know, I received the item that the customer sent, which in turn the software can pick up through the automation, right? And when you set that flag, then the customer gets an automated email that, hey, we received your item, that kind of stuff. And you can mix and match, and you can also run applications. So I have an application that when you make a purchase, the automation runs an application, my application, which generates a license for the customer, generates an email, login password, that kind of stuff. And the next step, sends that email to the customer. So essentially, you just leave it running, and whoever buys your software just 5 minutes later, up to 5 minutes later, receives a license. So you don't have to do anything, right? Everything happens by itself. So that saves a lot of time, because right now for Rework Pro, I generate licenses manually, which is time consuming. Okay, we have a there. Okay, we have the CPU removed. So this is the old one. Okay, let's stop the process. What's that?
Skynet, the guy you were talking to, has left the chat, just an FYI.
Oh, hang on. I'll check it in a sec. I need to do some whacking. Oh, don't tell me I pulled the pod. Oh, crap. I think I pulled the pod. Yeah, it felt like something wasn't I think we messed it up. And by we, I mean I messed it up.
Well, I mean, I'm on the phone, so,
Oh,
it's
right.
a we now.
Yeah. Yeah, but it looks like I pulled the pad. I think I pulled too early. It did feel when I pulled it, it did offer a little bit of resistance, and I think I ruined it.
Maybe not. Maybe the pad that you pulled is a grounding pad. It doesn't usually tougher anyway. Maybe it's just a no connect or something.
Well, no connects usually fly off, and yeah, but well, let's see.
Like I pulled the chip the other day, and it turned out like definitely ruined two pads. But they were turned out. I looked at it. There were no connects. Which I was lucky. Very lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Impatient.
Yeah, I probably should have. I don't know. Yeah, I probably should have waited a little longer, and maybe I should have just tapped on it from the side, just make sure it's all floating before I pulled it. Well, I'm used to sockets a little more than CPUs, so that's why I'm doing it. That's why this is basically, if I ruin this board, it's no loss, right? That's why I'm doing it.
Don't give up yet.
Mm.
We'll have to check.
Mm-hmm.
Stick in there. You got 21 people counting on you, watching you.
All right. That's probably why it's not gonna work. Too many people watching my hands. Yeah.
Somebody's going to say, "Oh, I can't believe this guy works on my stuff."
Yep.
I was on a stream yesterday. I don't know if you know NanoFix, right, Zach?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on the YouTube Fixers channel. So anyway, NanoFix he's pretty popular. He has streams that usually get 100 plus in there to see what he's doing.
Right.
I mean, I would say that's pretty popular. If you're over 100 plus, you're doing pretty well on stream.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy comes in there and he says, "I love when YouTubers try to fix stuff on a live stream, like as if Zach is just a YouTuber. He knows nothing about electronics."
All right.
And that kind of pissed me off, and I said, whatever your name is, said he's actually a technician. Like he's not a YouTuber. Not that listen, I get YouTuber's not a slight in any way, but you're taking his technician part away. You're saying he basically knows nothing.
Yeah, that is only a YouTuber. Yeah. Well, I don't consider myself a YouTuber. I'm just on YouTube.
Sorry, let me mute that.
Well,
That's definitely annoying.
I'm actually a software engineer. I'm not a repair technician. But no, you do what you do. And who knows? Maybe I will never be a software engineer anymore again, because there's not gonna be work for me. The AI is gonna take all my jobs. They took our jobs. Yep. I got the wick.
Yeah, I don't know what irks me about the comments, but I guess he's just taking away his other accomplishments.
Well, again, you just have to develop thicker skin than that.
It wasn't even about me. It was just,
Right.
about him.
But that's the.
Somebody came in there and said that about you. I'd be pissed off at them too, because I think, it's just the YouTuber type of thing is a little. That's like saying, I don't know. It's like saying somebody who's been doing work for five or 6 years, just a YouTuber. They're not just a YouTuber.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was actually thinking that today, because I gotta do some coding as well. So I was thinking I'll make a poll or something, and what do you guys want to watch? Either a CPU swap or coding. I don't think.
Anybody wants to watch coding, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry to say.
Well, we don't know, because I never did it. But maybe next time, just so I can have my confirmation that no one is interested in coding.
Well, my daughter took got a job. Well, she didn't get a job. She was supposed to be a game. It's the stupid thing. You could either go for cybersecurity on these online colleges, or you could go for gaming design or whatever. And as a young kid, of course, you're going to choose gaming design.
Of course.
And it's the most useless degree that you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
Because most of the coders that are doing that type of work have been doing it since they were, in diapers practically. And you're not gonna beat them out of a job. Number one, because you're probably asking too much money, and most of the coders are not making that much money.
That's true.
And,
I mean, the coders, the game and the developers, they don't really make much money.
Yeah, you gotta hope the game hits and stuff. There's too much to do. So, unfortunately, she's got this degree. I mean, it's good that she got a degree. I'd rather it be a more useful degree.
Right.
And she should have went for the cybersecurity, which is hard to get a job, but I feel like that's a better gig. Now I see a lot of this Kubernetes stuff. I don't know if you get into that or not, but it seems like most jobs are for Kubernetes. The stack, stack, OpenStack, that type of thing.
All right, Skynet had to leave. Sorry I missed that. Thanks a lot, Skynet, for joining us. Always a pleasure. And the chat pretty much died.
Do you know anything about that OpenStack, stack, all that stuff?
The what? The open what?
OpenStack, Kubernetes, that type of.
Yes.
That type of thing?
Yeah. That's pretty standard nowadays.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of jobs mention Kubernetes and all that.
Yeah, they mention a lot of stuff, but when it comes to actually hiring, they don't know who they're looking for. Or at least they're not looking for me. Alright, let's do some more preheating. Because the board's too cold now for wicking. Okay, the wicking seems to be a little more challenging than I thought. I think I'm gonna use a different wick, because for some reason it doesn't want to clean nicely and it keeps catching the wick. It's a little crappy stuff, but also because I let the board cool down a bit too much. There you go, come on. Yeah, it doesn't want to soak. What is this solder? I did put a leaded solder on it, and we'll see how many components I moved on the sides, because I can't really see. This is not going well at all.
Sorry, you lost your co-host for a little bit. I have to say, see where my son was going. So,
that's alright.
Figure it's not going well. That's all I heard.
Yeah. Yeah, let the board heat up a little more. I think I let it cool down too much, because I didn't think wicking would take this long. And I put the leaded solder on it, and it doesn't seem to be working as well as the sockets do.
That's what made me think of Zach, because he uses the wick with the hot air stick. He doesn't use the solder on soldering iron at all. He uses just the hot air and the wick together with the tweezers. We thought that was a good idea because it's a lot less damage to the pet. And that's what brought me into the story yesterday because you had mentioned the wicking thing. So
Yeah.
one thing leads to the other. I don't know if you've tried that method where you're just using hot air and the wick on a tweezer.
Yeah, but that's on the phones. Yeah, I used it on phones because it's there's just not enough room to maneuver with the soldering iron. So yeah, but I prefer to just use a good preheater or preheat the board and then just work with the soldering iron. Because the soldering iron also gives me the feedback, so I know if the solder already loosened up, right? If I removed it all and the wick is going smoothly, or I feel bumps that some solder is still there.
Okay, good shot. I wasn't sure if there was a reason. Let's see. A couple of comments. There's the iPhone guy said I needed software for Mac and Mac that would display my instruments reading, PSU, DMM. I only used Vibe coding as I have no experience with Swift. I need to admit, it worked great. I published it on my YouTube channel.
Awesome! I gotta check it out.
Yeah, gotta check out your YouTube channel. That's Reparati. I'm sure I'm butchering it. Reparati iPhone.
Yep.
And then it says the result was quite impressive. And the next comment, I already had those built in C++. I guess it's C++, not C pound, whatever, for Windows. So it helped the prompts a lot for the SCPI parts. I don't know what that is. I'm sure you would know.
Yep.
Somebody suggested low melt solder like chipwick, but that makes a giant mess. So I know why you're not using it.
Well, I don't have low melt solder. I just use the leaded solder. Yeah. So that's what I treat as a low melt solder. But I don't know. As long as the board is hot, and now it is, so now it's going well, I just let the board cool down too much. Right? As long as it's hot, you can subsidize with hot air, or you can subsidize with the preheater like I am right now.
I've seen a lot of people, they seem to they clean their flux off with alcohol before they're actually done. And that's you're crewing the board. I see a lot of that happen on a lot of people's channels.
Yes.
I just like to clean the flux when it's wet, when it's still hot. And I use the tissue paper, what do you call that? Clean, a swab or that Tech wipes.
Right.
And I use that, and it sucks it right up without the need for alcohol or anything like that.
Depends on the flux. Because my king bow is water soluble, so it's difficult to clean with alcohol.
Yeah. I use king bow. That's all I use. Well, I have nano flux, and I use that for like anything that has anything to do with balling. I use the clear nano flux. It seems to work really well.
You gotta try my flux. You want me to send you a
I
batch?
haven't tried it yet. Yeah, I'll have to. I haven't tried it. Well, actually. That being said, we were trying to. I think you should send some to Nathan.
Yeah, I gotta reach out to him. Yesterday I sent it, or actually today I shipped it. But yesterday I sent it to Tony. So we'll see what he's gonna say. I'm gonna get roasted. Something tells me I'll get roasted. As long as he has fake long beard, I don't mind. But it's got to be
I watched the flux when you were doing the port and the port swap, and I thought it looked pretty good. Maybe it gets a little brown, but what flux doesn't? You have if you have any type of, what do you call that stuff? Tree sap, whatever.
Resin.
Always gets
Yeah.
resin, not gets brown right away. And if you go in that natural, no chemical type of, not killing you type of smoke, you basically got to use a lot of rock, right? Or resin.
You mean do you have to use a lot of flux? No, not really. It goes a long way.
To get a non-toxic type of
Right.
flux, you have to use a lot of tree sap, right? Am I wrong in saying that?
No, you don't have to use a lot of tree sap. No, it's actually I don't remember off the top of my head the proportions right now, but it's less than it's around 40% concentration, right? So
Okay.
so the majority of this flux is actually glycerin.
Okay. Somebody suggested you could use. I never tried it by itself. Vaseline by itself. I've never seen that or heard of it. But somebody had suggested it, and I thought it was a neat idea for a base. Anyway, it does work.
Right.
I never tried it. Maybe I have to try it. But that's a cheap substance that you can mix with possibly resin and make a decent flux depending on the concentrations, like you said.
Right.
I'm sure you put a lot of thought into your flux. So, what you need, how long you need it for, how long it needs to last. I'm sure you calculated that all. If I know you correctly, I'm sure you've made a decent product.
Mm-hmm. Well, one way to find out. Let's see the chat. The result was quite impressive, right? I already had those built in C# for Windows, so I opened the prompt and a lot, a CPI part. Let's see, use low melt solder, yeah. But in my opinion, that dev jobs will go away soon. Well, let's hope not, because I don't want to be out of work forever. Hello from Jerry B. Jerry B, good evening from Poland. Pozdrawiam rodaka. What make and model is your Hodder station? Is it available on Amazon? Your affiliate link? I do not have an affiliate link, but this is 861D. You can find them as Quick 861D. Mine is not Quick, is Hyo Kyo, and it's a knockoff basically, or just the sticker is different. It's the same device. Really good. They used to go for around $300. It's worth every penny. I don't know, now with the tariffs and stuff, it's probably more expensive. Reperati, need to step out. Great seeing you live. Have a nice day. Thank you, Reperati. Always a pleasure. I like your jobs from Alessandro. I like your jobs on that preheater. Interesting and relaxing. I'm glad you like it, Alessandro. Jerry B, the best of Hodder station. Yeah, it's very established. It's been battle tested by a lot of people. Yes, it's a decent device for sure. I forgot to turn on the fan. I got distracted, I guess. Okay, looks like I didn't pull any pods, but once it cools down, we're gonna take a look at it under the scope and see, because I did feel a little bit of resistance when I was removing it, a little more than I normally would like to feel. So it seemed like I pulled it a bit too early. But yeah, I don't see anything pulled. Everything seems fine. And I don't remember the orientation of the CPU, but I should find it on one of the older videos working on this device. So Should be fine. We shall
Have I
see.
ever told you this?
Hmm?
Have I ever told you the story about my hot air station?
I don't think you did. But hang on.
Pretty good. So I wanted the 862 fan. But this V-War came up. So there's this AM 862D. And it
Yes.
looks identical to the Atom, right? So I said, oh, let me see if I could just get this. And, you know, it was like only $150 versus the other one. So I did get it. And I took it apart. And everything says Atom. And, you know, all the hot air things. Everything in the unit says Atom.
Yeah. That's a different sticker. Yeah.
Yeah, it's technically an Atom, except for one very crucial part. And that crucial part is the wand. The wand is not an atom. It's got a thinner head. You know, the wand where all the heat comes from. It's got a thinner head. It's got, you know, it's hard to find tips for it. You have to use they don't sell angle tips for that particular thing. So, all in all, I ended up changing that. I found that atom head on some site. I forgot which one. But if anybody needs it, I could give it to them. And it was like $35. So, and I had already complained to Vivor that I wanted to return it. And like, if you do any type of return with a Chinese company, they basically just throw money at you. So they threw like $80 at me to keep it, and then plus the 35 for the head that I ended up replacing. And I replaced that head on the screen, by the way. So, you know, it was content at least. And you know, so there you go. I have a fully working atom for less than $150.
Well, so 862D is this one, and 861D is this one, right? So one goes around the nozzle, and this one 861 goes in the nozzle. Both, in my view, are crappy. But it's the same size when you compare one and the other. It's the exact same size. It's just one goes on over, one goes under. This one 862D. This one's Zenny, but it's basically Aten. You know, the main difference is that the wand is actually has the fan over here. Right, so you only have the cable. On 861, the fan is inside the device, and you have a big long fake pipe over here. So
like
it feels
one.
right. It just feels different. It feels different, but both are good. I worked on that 862D for, I don't know, 2 years, maybe a year and a half. I've done everything that I do nowadays on the 861, and everything worked. So, you know, the price is not necessarily an indicator whether it's a quality device or whether it's gonna work well. So yeah,
I got shamed into buying an app, and that shame came from the fellow people, because I was using the cheap one that comes with the soldering station all in one. And it was made by,
yes, that's what this one is. Yeah, it comes with the handle and everything. But for the yeah, well, for the handles for the soldering iron, there's actually big difference, because hot air station, you know, it just produces hot air and that's it, right? There's not much to it. But with soldering irons, you have two general types. The integrated heater, that's what I use, or non-integrated heater. So the tips are a lot cheaper for non-integrated heater, but the heat transfer and the configuration, how you use it, it's completely different. The temperatures, everything. Plus the quality of the tips, you can hardly get a high quality tips that are non-integrated heater. So that's I definitely go for, you know, like I use AFEN. A9 Pro, but pretty much any one of these. It's basically just a stable power supply. This one is, I think, 300 watts. I don't remember. So you can connect pretty much any handle to it, and you can connect multiple handles, or not at the same time, obviously.
Not, yes, not the same. Because I have the same station.
Yeah. It works, yeah. So for these, yeah, it matters for the soldering iron. For other station, not that much.
Right. The only thing I wish about the iron is I wish they would have a place that you could and like a switch so you could plug, so you could use different irons. I'm trying. I want the smaller, the mid-range one, like the T10, for example.
Right.
I use a lot on like pins and stuff like that. But then I set up the other hot air station, like the teak one. I set up for like as hot as it gets, and just a huge tip on it in case I need anything like, just really hot and really large,
Mm-hmm.
which doesn't sound good on the screen, I'm sure. But but the T10 is a nice handle. I wish I could use both. Not like I said, not at the same time, because it would probably blow it out. But I do wish they had like a switcher, like an automatic switcher.
Right, that would be, yeah, because that's why I usually just keep 245 over here, because it's a pain. It's a pain to remove this one and put the other one. It's a pain. I would definitely like this to support two handles, so I can have them next to each other and just switch between two. That would be a great feature for sure.
It would be really awesome, honestly. And the tips are kind of pricey. I use the what do they call that? Like the small pointy one on an angle.
Yeah, I call it bent tip. Yeah.
Bent tip. I like that one because it gives you like the ability to tilt it to the side and use like more heat or try to get like the exact heat. And I just find that the mid-range one is easier, not the T10. I guess it's the 15, right?
Mm-hmm.
25. But it depends. I guess it depends on what you do. Right?
Okay, no pulled pads, but we'll take a look at the under the scope in a second. Just let the machine cool down a bit because it's still blasting heat. What's the temperature of the heater? Oh, we don't know because I already closed the software. Actually, I don't remember closing the software. Maybe it crashed. I gotta check the log later, see what happened.
Somebody wants to know if you get the tips from Ali, and if you do, can you share a link?
Yes, I get. I can't really give you a link, but these ones I got from eBay, but obviously you can get them on AliExpress as well. Veco T. This is C245 series. This is C245KU. So I got three of them because they usually come in threes: the bent tip, the chisel tip, and the straight tip. So.
Somebody's asking what VGA station for him. He's got $1,000 budget.
Oh, yeah, with $1,000 budget, you can get SC Pro with 4 Elstein heaters and 500 watt heater on the top. It's pretty much the same machine as this one. It uses the same controller. You can use Rework Pro on it, but it just the difference is the bottom heater is much larger. It's better for the motherboards or basically big boards essentially.
Say hello to a few swindlers. What's up, Charles?
Howdy.
Like your beard.
That's my recognizable feature. People don't remember my name, but they just say that guy with the beard.
The beard.
The beard guy.
We all hang out. We all watch live streams. Basically, Andy from Swindon Electronics kind of started it, where he live streamed everybody that watches Andy's live stream watches all the other live streams that everybody else watches. So, basically when you bring one of us, it's called like the Swindlers, for example. That's because he's from Swindon. So somebody named Ace decided that the nickname would be the Swindlers. And now all the Swindlers basically just follow each other around and watch each other. Watch everybody else's live stream that everybody's watching. So,
Yeah.
kind of brings an audience.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. Grow an audience, right? Trying to stay alive. I'm just trying to basically stay alive. Because it doesn't look like the job market is going to get better anytime soon. So if I don't make something happen, then there's not going to be anything.
Years ago, I decided that I wanted to be on Google, and recently I got myself on Apple Maps as well. But I do, I put my house as a location, which, you don't have the ability to.
Yeah.
But I did put my house as the location. Actually, I didn't even have to, back then I didn't have to put a location, like a real deal location. You could just put like a fictitious address and they would, they would take it. So, anywho, so I'm on Google, and that helps a lot. Especially, I don't know, you look up electronic repair in your area. I don't know who comes up or whatever, but it is a way to get business, just being on Google and Apple Maps.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'll figure that out. I'll get something. I'll get something worked out. Definitely. Let's see. The Veco T, got it. Sounds like a foreign rapper name. Veco T. Yeah, it does. On next chapter, how to build solar panels to cut electricity bill. Solar panels will not cut your electricity bill, unfortunately. As much as I am a strong proponent of renewable energy, solar panels do not cut electricity cost. They just move that cost to different areas and spread it a little bit differently. But if you calculate installation cost and maintenance, those devices like to break, and they work effectively for 10 years, meaning after 10 years you're at around 60% of capability of energy production capability. So essentially you would have to replace them after 10 years, and in those 10 years, again, it kind of depends on the equipment, but to actually power your house and to sell energy back to the grid, you need relatively expensive equipment, which tends to break, and once it breaks, it's relatively expensive to repair.
What breaks on the inverters?
Inverters, yeah.
Because I was thinking about solar, and I looked up the price on my house. I use a lot of energy, right? To the tune of like $400 to sometimes $500, $600 a month.
Yeah. I mean, the solar panels were a good deal back in the day, but only because of the government incentives, right? You would get money from the government to install solar panels. Now it's the opposite. Now you pay a higher insurance because you have solar panels. You have to. Sometimes you can't get an insurance because you have solar panels, and that's extra weight on the roof and stuff, so no one's going to insure your house. So you have to get like super expensive insurance. Plus, when you need to do any work on your roof, that becomes a problem because you have solar panels. So now any roof job, because you can't really walk on the roof, so any roof job costs you double, if not more. So now, essentially, solar panels are no longer very viable, at least not for the purpose of saving money on electricity.
Well, the only way I would do it, I wouldn't do it on the roof. I'd put them in my yard, as a panel array in the yard. That's the only way I would put solar panels. I don't believe in putting them on the roof for a host of the reasons you just said. Weight, no load, cleaning them, just maintenance. Fixing something that's wrong, just a host of issues that you said. I always put them in my yard where to pick the best spot and put them in the yard. But
Right.
most people don't have that option.
Yep.
So, yeah. And then like you said, I don't know how, but they seem to have, the power company gives you fractions of what the power's worth, fractions of a penny worth what the power that you're putting into them are. And, their buyback from power is ridiculously low.
Right.
And then everything on your house gets complicated, like you said, because you put you need a meter, you need a transfer switch, and you need permits. The permits cost a lot of money.
Yep.
There's a lot of reasons why I don't have solar panels right now. None of them have to do with me liking or disliking green energy. If green energy works, fine. I'll go with it. I think the only way that energy could be acceptable is with giant batteries in your house, charging the batteries. That adds a whole list of problems too.
Yep.
The batteries.
All right.
With fire hazards, insurance, and all that.
All right, let's see. We've been yapping about energy, so the viewership dropped. I guess we were too boring. Let's see. So, let's see what we got here. We are installing a new CPU today. No, I don't have a stencil. A couple of exposed tracks, nothing major. So that's what I saw over here, and I thought that I pulled the pod, but no, it's good. Yeah, it is exposed, but not much. Now the cleaning job, awful. There's plenty of solder here and here, so I don't know why it doesn't want to clean nicely. I think, or here definitely, big blobs of solder. So this needs to be wicked again before installing the new CPU. Definitely. I'm not sure why it's giving me so much issues.
How does that oxidation happen on something you just removed? I never understood that.
Now let's see the CPU. If there's no, but no, definitely no pads anywhere. Some of the balls detached very nicely and stayed on the CPU. Obviously this is where I held it by the tweezers, I think. Although I thought I was doing it from the side. Maybe not. No missing caps. Everything went well over here. Yeah. So now we could clean the CPU, but this one we don't care about this one because this is the shorted one. I wonder. No, it's probably not any caps, right? No, definitely not, because this was I don't know if this was a discharge, what do you call it, the thunder, the power surge, or it just shorted the VRM, and that's what shorted the CPU. Who knows? In either case, all we have to do is just install this VRM from the other board and install the CPU. But as I said, we won't be able to do it today because no stencil. But we still have to clean this. I don't remember it. I did the AM5 recently, maybe not super recently, but some time ago, and it wasn't that hard to wick it. It was actually pretty easy. And this one, for some reason, doesn't want to wick well. I guess low melt would be good for that, but I don't have one. Maybe I should get some low melt before I finish this. But to my surprise, not a single missing tiny component around. Everything, especially these, super close. Where was it? These, and there was another one that was super close. These two, yeah, right by the CPU, and I was surprised that I didn't knock anything off by wicking. I was expecting to lose some tiny components, but I would just replace them from the other board. before removing the CPU. So interesting. Well, that's how it goes. So this is 2011P CPU. Now, so what's the orientation? I think it was this one. How do you know where the pin 1 is? I think this was the orientation. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was, but... Oh, right, okay, I see it now. Okay, so you have dots on 3 corners, and 1 corner is a triangle, so that's pin 1. Okay, so I don't need to remember orientation anymore. Alright. That will do. Oh, I'm already tired. Well, actually it's, what is it, 4 o'clock almost. I've been working on the ECM today for a little while, and I don't remember, I was doing something else, so I'm pretty tired. I'm ready for beer and sympathy. Let's see, do we have anything in the chat? A couple of exposed tracks, yeah, nothing major. Yeah, it's not as easy as yeah, those 2 triangles. Yeah, yes sir. We'll see what it's gonna be. I'm kind of curious if we can get this done, if it's, you know, if it's gonna work afterwards. But yeah, as long as we don't have pulled parts. Although next time I'm gonna wait a little longer, because I think I pulled it a bit too early, but not enough to damage anything. But it was a bit too much resistance. It shouldn't feel like that. I need to find work from home job again. Yeah, good luck with that. Where is my shop? My shop is located in Atlanta, or Atlanta area, Georgia. That's East Coast, so I'm on East Coast time. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon right now. Yeah, oh, I see some beer in the chat. Well, good. Very good. Actually, let's what do we hear? I think you will get it done perfectly. Thank you, Alessandro, for your support. Yeah, I should be able to get it done. It's not my first time replacing the CPU, but actually first time doing the Intel. I did few AMDs before. Not a lot of them though. But mainly my experience lies in sockets. I've done dozens, I don't know, maybe now in the hundreds of sockets. So Kid Vlut. The stencils should be delivered by the end of this month. That's what they tell me. Once I get them, then we're gonna do first session just to reball the CPU, because I didn't know there were capacitors at the back of it. So I'm not sure how to do it with that stencil, because I thought this, yeah, I'm not sure. So we'll see if that stencil even is going to work. But yeah, the plan is, I think they said by the 28th I should receive that. So that's going to be like more than a couple months, and maybe along with the tariff bill. So we'll see, because it's like a set of I don't know, like 20 stencils, something like that. For hand cut, I'm starting now with preheater and chip pulling. Inspired by your job. Yeah, you know, the BGA work is very satisfying once you get a hang of it. Once you put the handle on it, it's very satisfying and it can be fun. But initial, you know, the entry learning curve, the entry, it's pretty difficult. You know, it can get pretty discouraging at first. Especially when stuff doesn't work. You also, you know, especially on this board, this board doesn't cover the entire heater, right? So part of the heater is exposed over here. So that heat is blasting in your face when you're wicking. The board cools down, or it's too hot, too cold. You know, the smoke from the flax. I mean, if you use my flax, it's a pleasant smell, but if you use like king bow or something like that, you're choking on those fumes from that flax. It's too much of it for a tiny fume extractor that I have to actually pull all that smoke. So yeah, it can be very difficult at first, but once you get a hang of it, it's a really satisfying work. You know, once you just know what you're doing, you know, it takes few tries. It takes a little bit of getting used to learning. So you know, the way I always describe it is just prepare yourself that you're gonna mess up the first, I don't know, 10 boards or what have you, and it's gonna be frustrating, and you know, so just enter this. Being aware of that it's not going to be easy, it's not going to work, and it's going to be frustrating and all that, right? And with that, it'll make it easier. And once you actually get a hang of it, it's first of all, it is pretty satisfying, especially when it works. And second, there's not a lot of people that actually do that, so competition is not very significant. There's only, you know, for socket replacements on eBay, I'm the only one. I'm the only listing. From time to time, those listings pop up here and there, but the terms are very vague because they tell you, you know, you pay $100 or $50 and send the board, and then we send you the quote and that kind of stuff. So it's not very transparent. My listing is just, you know, you pay $50 and you get what you get, but you know what you get. You know. I'll be prepared and patient. Yeah, patience as well. Patience and yeah, just don't lose your temper. You know, because it's easy to lose your temper, but especially with because I usually just push through those issues, those problems. But if it's not working, if it's not going well, just leave it. Just, you know, cool everything down and step away from the problem and come back to the problem the next day or what have you. You'll get much better results that way. I usually am just too stubborn. I just want to get it done. So Jerry's asking if I'm the electronics engineer from school or self-taught. I am self-taught. No, I graduated information technology. That is the informatics. Yes, I'm a software engineer by trade, with nearly 3 decades of experience. I started in '97, so I've lived through a lot of generations of software, hardware, and I've lived through a dot-com bubble, and I survived that dot-com bubble, although I was significantly younger. I will survive the AI bubble as well, or at least that's what I keep telling myself. But we'll see. The proof is in the pudding, so we'll see if next year I'm streaming from my trailer in the trailer park. That means that no, I did not survive the .com bubble. So Raf, you were one of the AOL booter maker. Well, not quite AOL, but yeah, I remember times when we used 56K modems, and that was the improvement over the 28K. So yeah, I remember when. Yeah, actually, the good part of my coding career, or yeah, let's call it a coding career, I had to only rely on books and the documentation, right? That's all I had. I didn't have internet. I had to figure out everything myself. And one interesting thing that taught me is that the solutions that I came up turned out to be standards, the patterns. So I came up with the same solutions that you would read in the books. But since I came up with those solutions myself, so I understand now why those work that way, why you should have separation of concerns, for example, right? And that kind of stuff, or the idea of clean code and all that. So yeah, I've been around for a while. Alessandro, thanks for your tips. Thank you for your thumbs ups. Okay, so Jerry is also self-taught and is planning to open the business in Poland, the repair shop in Poland. He's got all the equipment and everything. Just needs a little bit of confidence boost to actually go through with that. So everybody give some pat on the back for Jerry to finally go through it. It's if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Just be aware that Poland might be a little more difficult market than US is. It's a little different, and there's probably a lot of competition. So I would suggest, find some niche, and my advice is just be as upfront and transparent with the customers as you can, and you'll find a lot of customers, right? Because a lot of your competition in Poland, they're just trying to upsell and like basically deliver next to nothing and charge money. So if you just beat that approach and just be a more transparent, more reliable than the others, then you'll find plenty of business. I had plenty of business in Poland doing repairs and like surveillance installations and stuff. But it was easier because that was right after we joined European Union, so there was a lot of investments going on everywhere. Good luck, Jerry. Yay. Why AI is a bubble? Why is AI a bubble? Because the same way the .com was a bubble. It's not like the technology doesn't work. It's not like the technology doesn't exist. But the illusion or impression of what this technology is and what it can do and what exactly is the actual value of that technology is grossly overestimated. That's why it's a bubble. So it's not like once this bubble bursts, the AI will be exposed as useless, because neural networks have been around since the 70s. So they definitely solve problems that algorithmically you are almost impossible to solve algorithmically, and you have to use neural networks. But it doesn't mean that the neural network can do everything always better than algorithms. So it's basically around evaluation, right? That's what makes it a bubble. It's not worth as much as they say it is, and it can't do everything that they say it can, and it won't be in the future what they say it will be in the future. That's pretty much it. That's why it's a bubble. Yeah, good luck, Jerry. Yeah, I think I already read that. Did you get your graduation in 97? No, I graduated in 2002. And by that time, I already sold a lot of software that I developed. And back then, I had no competition. It was golden times back then. Lech czy Tyskie? Both. Can I do both? Well, I like Lech because it's in the green bottle. I just like green bottles. Tyskie, well, I'm from Silesia, so it's like my home beer. Żywiec a little less so. Żubr also. Or the cheap stuff that gives you nasty hangover. I don't know if they still sell it, but it was called harnaś. Katowice, Jerry, Katowice, or around Katowice. Actually, between Katowice and Częstochowa. Those are my regions. I studied in Częstochowa. I worked in Katowice. I lived in Zawiercie. I lived in Warsaw. I lived in Poznań. So I've been scattered a little bit. Oh, Poznań. All right. So you don't call potatoes ziemniaki, you call potatoes pyry, right? Nice. Yeah, I will visit Poland at some point. At some point in my life, or maybe I will retire in Poland because I won't be able to retire in US. We'll see. Oh, no harnaś anymore. I'm not surprised. It was a really nasty beer, very cheap beer, and it would give you a nasty hangover. And usually, when you would buy it, it was already expired. It was already past its best buy date. Crazy. That's probably they no longer have it. Shushki, yes, that was basically a crappy beer. No way around that. But it was actually as a student. No, we didn't drink harnaś. I think there wasn't harnaś back then yet. It was like a little more modern invention. But I can't tell you the names. But we used to drink this local beer. I'm not even gonna try to remember the name, but it was not very strong, but also not very watery. You would buy it in the bottles, and you can return the bottles. So, and it was super cheap. I think it was like well, it's tough to convert that to today's money, but I would say like maybe $1 a beer, maybe 80 cents a beer plus the bottle. But then you can return the bottle, and or you bring the bottles and you buy the beer, and the bottles are free, right? Małe, mocne. Oh, bączki. Yes, those those little. Yeah, I love those. Um, the beer in the little tiny bottles, like comparing to regular bottles, it was like this small, a little fat bottle. I don't know if they make them anymore, um, but it's yeah, I love those because they're really really tiny. So it was like kind of like half a beer, maybe a little more than half a beer. So it was always fresh and always cold, right? Because you wouldn't let it just sit, right? Yeah, awesome. AI is just a tool, not the solution to everything. Yeah, that's pretty much my point. Yeah. Yes, and they did have those little beers. Yeah, they did have a little bit of kick to them. Yeah, but you could get different kind of beers in those little bottles. So I wouldn't go for those strong ones because they're just too strong, and I was much younger, so my stomach wouldn't be able to take that, right? So if we wanted something stronger, we would just drink vodka, but rarely. I was never really into vodka. I never really liked vodka. Now I have a little more of a taste for like some kind of liquor from time to time. Not really because I haven't had liquor in a long time. But now I can actually drink vodka and actually enjoy it. But throughout my entire life, I really did not like vodka, either smell or taste or anything. Ooh, I didn't like it. But what we did, so when I studied in Częstochowa, we had the friend group that was primarily from Podaj. It's close to Częstochowa. It's like 20 kilometers away, something like that. And we would get our alcohol from the captain. He was called the captain because he always had this captain cap on him. Obviously, no shirt, big beard, and he would do basically the equivalent of moonshine, right? So we would buy that. It was blue, yeah, it was blue, but it didn't taste like industrial alcohol. I don't know why it was blue, but I mean, I know what you're thinking why it was blue, but no, it wasn't because of that. He was using some like instead of diluting it in water, he was using like Gatorades or something like that. How often do I use the oscilloscope? Not as often as I do the multimeter. So it kind of depends, especially when I can't figure something out, then usually I just want to confirm. This scope is not great, especially when you're working with high-speed rails. It won't give you it won't show you the correct timing. I mean, timing it will, but not the right shape of the signal. So, and even at as low as 10 kilohertz. Or no, 100 kilohertz. Yeah, it's technically 100 megahertz and 1 giga sample per second, but that's not true. It's very far from being true. Gotta go sleeping. I'll be working on tomorrow. Have a beautiful weekend. See you the next live stream. Ciao. Ciao, Alessandro. Gracias. The Jerry. So no, you don't need you really don't need a scope. Especially if do you know how to use the scope? Just get a cheap one like mine and learn how to use the scope first, and then you'll be able to make more informed decision based on your needs, because you'll know what you need. Getting the expensive scope just to confirm if you have a data coming through from the BIOS or anything like that, you really don't need more than even those little handheld oscilloscopes for $20. That'll do. This one is like, I don't remember, 120, $130 for this one. People really crap on this scope, and rightfully so. It is very limited, but for the most part, you really don't need anything more than that. I've been using it. I have two of these, one in the closet and one that I'm using. Been using it for years now, and yeah, as long as you're aware of the limitations, sure. But especially for audio equipment, you really don't need anything more, because you work on the 2 kilohertz, the most, or 20 kilohertz, whatever. $250 for all-one multimeter with the oscilloscope. 200. You wrote 200 hertz, but I think you meant 200 megahertz. Again, it's probably not going to be 200 megahertz. I mean, this one is 100 megahertz, but the sine wave, sure, it'll show you a sine wave of 50 megahertz. And typically, when you buy an oscilloscope, the reliable range is half of the range that is printed on the label. But oftentimes the range printed on the label is double of the actual. So essentially, it's essentially a quarter of what is printed. So this one's 100 megahertz, so it's around 20 megahertz tops that you can do on it, but only with sine wave and stuff. So yeah, in some cases you wanna, on some equipment, you wanna see on the crystal oscillator, you wanna see if it's oscillating, right? You don't need to count the frequency and stuff. You just want to see the signal. And when the board doesn't boot and you want to see if the BIOS is being read or stuff like that, you don't need to actually interpret the signal or anything like that. You just want to see if it's there. This is perfectly fine for that. But if you want to do some SPI sniffing, hacking and stuff like that, then this scope is really useless for that. It's not gonna work. Will I solder the processor live? Probably, but not until I get the stencil, which is gonna be hopefully later this month. Alrighty, we're at 2 hours and 12 minutes. That's not bad for just removing the CPU and poorly wicking the board. What are you gonna do? Sometimes it's a little more difficult, but before we put the CPU on, we have to clean the board again. But I think we're gonna finish here. It's awesome to hang out with you guys. Always a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope it wasn't too boring. Thank you, Dave, for co-hosting. That was good. You just need to get a better microphone so I can hear you better, because I had trouble hearing you. But for the next session. And for some reason, why is Lead Farmer never joining or anything? Well, maybe he's busy with work or something. Anyways, thank you guys again, and I shall see you guys probably tomorrow. We're gonna do the Sunday repair session. We usually do it on in the morning on Sundays. We'll see if we're gonna stream it or not, because there's the delay that I didn't account for, so it's a little bit different. But yeah, we'll see what we're gonna do. So either way, you can always join. You can always join Discord and jump to the lounge, and that's where we do the stuff. It's just not on YouTube, but we still do it live. And we'll see what we're gonna do, because yeah, maybe we're gonna do the ECM or something, or start hacking on the batteries. We'll see. Thank you guys again, and I shall see you tomorrow.